meeting. First of all, we'll read our video recording disclaimer. This disclaimer is to inform all participants that the meeting conducted in person and via Zoom will be recorded for record-keeping purposes. By participating in the meeting, you consent that the recording may contain your video stream, including images of yourself, your audio stream. This includes any opinions you contribute. Anyone attending the recorded meeting may have aspects of their personal data recorded if they actively participate or not. By staying in the meeting, you consent to being recorded. By consenting and attending the meetings virtually or in person, participants also agree recordings being posted to YouTube or other distribution services. Also read our land acknowledgement. Armour Township is situated on the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe. Armour Township recognizes the historical and contemporary contributions of the local First Nations and the peoples of Turtle Island. First up, we have a set of minutes from our last meeting. Council Township of Armour approved the minutes of the regular council meeting held on September 9th, 2025 as circulated.
Sorry, October 14th.
This one.
I'm off to a good start, aren't I? Good catch.
Wasn't even thinking as I was reading it. Okay, I'm going to read it again. Council Township of Armour approved the minutes of the regular council meeting held on October 14th, 2025 as circulated. Dorothy, I see your hand up. Yep. Any errors, omissions, edits? All those in favor? Carried. And we're off to the races. We have no changes in the agenda. And do we have any declarations of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof based on tonight's agenda? None noted. And our first delegation dressed up as Danica, our recreation coordinator. Danica, over to you. It's item 3 on your agenda.
So you all have the staff report that I did. Nothing really, not new and exciting, but catching of the eye. Our cornhole league is doing really, really good and people are really enjoying that. Moose season hindered it last week. Fall Passion Frenzy was a really good success. We had, I'm going to say, I think it was 11 bags of clothing left over. Half of it we donated to a women's shelter and the other half went up to the South River free store. And I believe some of it got shared with the Women's Own. I don't want to be marked on that, but I think they were going through it and then going to disperse it to there. So really reused and cycled down. Our fitness program, we opted not to go through as we didn't have as many participants as we were hoping. And which in turns kind of saves our building a little bit more. It was getting a little, not rough on the floors, but it was kind of, it's a lot of wear and tear on the floors. So if we do look at fitness programs again, it'll be a certain style like yoga where you're not using weights and running and tracking up the floor. We've also had a conversation with square dancing because they like to square dance in one section. So we're hoping to kind of cycle them through on the floors just to save our floors. Our Christmas market has been sold out a few times and we have people asking left, right, and center if we still have spaces and we're full. Our kids' Halloween we had today, which is why I look the way I do. Nice. And we had well into the 40s for children. Very, very well attended. We had our Halloween paint night. We had 6 kids in our morning and 6 kids in the evening. The 6 kids in the morning were our PD day camp kids. And then our wreath workshop, our numbers are low on that, but I think so many years we're just getting the regulars per se. So next year we can look into doing something a little bit different. Kids Christmas activities, we have an ornament workshop that's coming up. We've opened that up to a few, we've had community living reach out to us and see if they can have people attend, so we've accepted that. And our gala update is we still have, I'm going to say about 20 tickets. It's the last time I checked earlier this week, left to sell before the first. We're Our caterers kind of open to at least 3 weeks before our gala, so that's cutting it close to the first, so we can kind of go into a little bit of the second week. And then we have, we've looked into Hunters Bay Radio, hosting that on Monday nights, so that we don't have to hold a lottery license because we're a municipality, we can't. But just more or less opening the bar and opening it as a social night, so people who do the Hunters Bay Radio can come out. The Kearney Legion's done it a few times and it's been super successful. So Dorothy brought that up and we kind of ran with it. We're not going to do anything until January. November, December is usually a write-off for a lot of things, especially when they're regulars, because of the busy season. And then we'll run into it later in the January season or January month, in hopes that we have decent attendance. And then we have a meeting on Monday.
Maybe. Sorry.
We, as of yesterday, had Jot Form as the program we use for our registrations and everything. We've run into a snag that because we're asking for certain information, they need to verify that we're okay to ask, like we're an organization, we're okay to ask for that information, but it's not sounding like we're going to be able to ask for that information very long. So we're in the midst right now of looking into other programs, to help us with that. And Jot Forms, we've outgrown Jot Forms tremendously already. So we're just in the midst of doing that. That's been my week so far. I have 4 more Zoom meetings this week with different companies as to what they can do and offer, but that's our snag this week.
If we had a roof over the rink, we could do fitness classes in there.
Yes.
At least 3 seasons.
You saw the tri-council budgets last night, right?
Any questions, concerns?
Actually, speaking of the ring, Dan, I know the budget's not in here, but is the netting in the budget for next year for the pucks that keep going onto Bob's property? There was a survey response that I suspect may have come from one of the neighbors.
There was, I believe it was put into this budget for this year. So we've reached out and we're just waiting on responses. We're doing more investigating on the netting we already have, because there's already netting there. My honest opinion is the netting that we're going to get isn't going to stop much, because we already have so many barricades already around, and just watching the kids slap it, it's not going to stop much because it's just angling a little bit. The way they angle it, it's not really coming over, just more or less going up, kind of like a backstop, more gradual. But I don't think our netting we have there is already loose and kind of looking raggedy as it is. So I'm getting a quote on new netting for the all-in-one up into the sky and then backstop. Or just getting the backstop portion added on to what we already have, but they need to verify, because it's a different company. They need to verify that our posts and our netting can support it. So we're just waiting on a bit more details on that, but.
So what I'm hearing is we need a roof and walls. We need a full arena.
Yeah.
The questions for Danica. It's a busy place.
We just had homeschoolers. They come in every 3rd Thursday with us now. And we just booked another. So on Tuesdays now we have 3 things guaranteed happening every Tuesday. So our parking lot looks like we're just swinging people in it. So it is really nice to see. How much chaos happens while we're getting work done is crazy, but she's not a quiet spot.
Now, did we ever get pickleball painted on to use for pickleball at all?
I wasn't aware that we wanted that.
In the rink?
Yes, in the rink area.
There is not any.
Okay.
It would be very utilized, I think, by watching the crazy pickleball people around here. It's.
I know we had discussed.
Because we had talked about either like tennis court or pickleball.
The problem with putting it in there is, to be brutally honest, in the spring, summer, and fall, that rink is underwater all the time. And in the winter, it's still underwater because we have great winters nowadays. Like when we do our ball hockey, this year we're very lucky we didn't have to postpone any weeks. But our first year, there was times that kids were swimming in the water there. So this year we went out 3 times with leaf blowers. So that's going to be in my budget for next year is a leaf blower. And we spent hours trying to make it dry for our ball hockey.
Would it be more effective to have like a sump pump to like pump out the water rather than a leaf?
Well, it's not flat. So we have, I'm gonna say easily 10 divots in it. So we're out there with squeegees and leaf blowers. You can only do so much and then let it dry and then go back in and let it dry. So our day camp staff or day camp kids love doing it, thank God. So we kept them busy. But even for our day camp, we had to prep it if we want to do anything out there. If it had rained at all that week, it just sits there forever unless we have a really hot day.
That's why you need a roof.
I know.
I didn't want to say it a 4th
Yeah.
time.
Any other questions? Great work, Danica.
Yeah.
It's good to see you place busy. Thank you very much.
I'm sticking around. I got daycare, so.
Very good. Can we take your picture now?
Famous now. I could have brought my whole head ensemble I had earlier.
I've got a set of devil.
I was born with.
Dirty
it, so
devil
it's fine.
The blink?
Mine probably do.
Okay. Next up, we have no accounts for approval, so we have 2 applications. One is a zoning bylaw amendment, definitions of development and lot area, modify the wetlands protection zone. So this is item 4. And I think Don Murphy is on Zoom listening in. So I'm just going to read this in and then we'll get Charlene some further background. And this may take a minute because this is a very long resolution. Whereas the Township of Armour has received a zoning bylaw amendment application from Don Murphy proposing to amend the township's comprehensive zoning bylaw to amend the definition of development in section 2.53, amend the definition of lot area in section 2.111, and amend the zone requirements in section 8.2A wetland protection zone. And whereas the proposed definition of development could affect all properties within the township, and whereas the proposed amendments to the definition of lot area and the zone requirements in section 8.2A would affect all properties wholly or partially within the wetlands protection zone. And whereas under Ontario Reg 54506 zoning bylaw amendments, Schedule 1, sets out the information and material required to be submitted in the order for a zoning bylaw amendment application to be considered complete. And whereas the application submitted by the applicant is incomplete and does not contain all the information required under Schedule 1 of OREG 54506, including but not limited to paragraph 9, full description of all lands wholly or partially within wetlands protection zone, i.e. the affected properties. Paragraph 10, frontage, depth, and area of all affected properties. Paragraph 17 and 18, information regarding building and structures on affected properties. Paragraphs 19 to 20, proposed uses and new buildings or structures affected properties. Paragraph 22, ownership and use history affected properties. Paragraph 28, required sketches showing boundaries, dimensions, features, access, and easements affected properties. Affidavit or sworn declaration confirming accuracy of the submitted information. And whereas the onus to provide the required information rests solely with the applicant. And whereas pursuant to subsection 3410.3 of the Planning Act, RSO 1990, page 13, until council has received the required information and material, council may refuse to accept or further consider the application in the time period under subsection 3411 does not begin to run. Therefore, be it resolved, Council of Township of Armour hereby determines that the zoning bylaw amendment application submitted by Donald Murphy remains incomplete in accordance with section 3410.3 of the Planning Act and Schedule 1 of OREG 54506. Council hereby refuses to further consider the application, and council directs township staff to issue written request of the foregoing to the applicant. Dorothy, move on. Seconder.
Sure.
Rod. Okay. any sections that you want repeated? Shars, any further background on this one? I think it's,
We've had the application for a bit, for a while, and we requested some legal advice on it, review. And that was the response from the municipal solicitor.
Did we consider this resolution? That was his response?
Yes, he drafted that resolution.
okay,
Basically, it's stating there's a lot of incomplete, there's information that has not been provided. There may be, based on the application, what was submitted, there may be properties that may be missed. It's uncommon for a private person to put through such an application, but it's not prohibited. But when you do so, you've got to capture them all, and there's requirements as to what's needed. So you're essentially rezoning everyone's property that has wetlands. That's,
So normally if that, something like that is proposed by the council.
it's a township initiated zoning bylaw amendment. But when it comes from a
There's a
private person,
There's a public meeting process.
Yeah,
for all public.
there still is.
And
This
see
would
the
involve
map.
circulating to all of those properties that are listed. Everyone could appeal it, but with the township taking that on, it's a different perspective, so.
so something you typically do if you're doing a full-blown official plan or
Or
going back.
comprehensive zoning
Comprehensive
bylaws.
zoning bylaw, okay. Any
I
other
think
questions?
that's the appropriate time to address any concerns would be when that happens.
And there's something else that we're
Yeah.
reviewing.
Because you just can't make a decision carte blanche here tonight over something that huge.
Well, and if we would have to follow a different protocol, if it was our bylaw that we were changing, then we obviously should be following that same protocol if we want to.
Normally what happens at the public meeting is you have a set of maps that the public can look at to see this is what my zoning used to be, and this is now what's being proposed, so that it's very clear
Okay.
to the property owner what's happening with it.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to see what Don.
Yeah, I was just gonna, we're gonna get, Don, your thoughts on this. First, any other questions from council before? Okay, thanks for coming out, Don. We wanted to give you a chance to respond to this and provide any further commentary.
Yeah, and thank you for getting me towards the head of the meeting. I appreciate that. So the question that I had, and I think was answered. The opinion came from legal counsel because I noticed this wasn't on the agenda on the 14th, and I didn't submit it until after the meeting of September 23rd. So I wasn't sure where this how this got completed in between council meetings, but now that's been answered. So I appreciate that. And I think the important thing is, the ask was never that the amendments be accepted. Of course, that we engage in the public process, the well-defined process of reviewing this both with the public and council and making changes as appropriate. Certainly understand that it's generally part of a larger initiative to update the entire official plan, but that doesn't make it less critical at this point. And yet I think from the get-go, it was always to affect all remaining wetlands in Armour Township. I think that is the intent. And I guess as we look at what I submitted, based on what was provided last time by, I think it was also by municipal council, I thought I had met all but one of the items, and obviously that was not their interpretation. So I'm still kind of absorbing the resolution to see where what I created does not map to what is necessary.
Thanks, Don. We appreciate you bringing it forward, and certainly for future work on the official plan and the zoning bylaw, we'll keep this under consideration. But I think at this time, we have to refuse the application based on the legal advice we've received. Okay, so we have a mover and a seconder. Any other questions, comments? All those in favor? And that's carried. So appreciate you coming out. Don, you're welcome to stay for other items on the agenda if you like.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, next up, we have road deviation transfer. This is Strut, Pickerel, and Jack Lake Road. So this is item 5, and we have Ted Williams here as well to provide some further background on this.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. Just as a way of introducing this, we've got Pickerel and Jack Lake Road that's been in this location for many, many years. And there's a wish by the Andrews family, who owns land to the south, to access the road. So in the process of investigating this, they found out that in fact, the road is not located on the road allowance, but it's located on property of people to the north by the name of Strut, Edith Strut. So in your council package today, you've got shaded portions. The red shaded portion is the traveled road. There's a blue shaded portion, which is the sliver between the traveled road and the unopened original road allowance, which is in yellow. So the goal here is to ultimately make this a win for everybody. And so the players are the Struts. They want to get some money and clear up the title to the traveled road, which is on their property, and the little blue sliver is useless to them. So they're happy to get rid of it. The township, it makes sense for the township to formalize the road ownership to get title to the land that you're actually using, and at minimal cost. This will allow this sufficient property to be available for future improvements should they be necessary. Little old bridge hill there. And the third people who are footing the bill for this are the Andrews on the south. And basically what they want is to have frontage on a municipally maintained road and obtain an entrance permit. That's it, so that they can use their vacant property. Basically, the Strut property and the Andrews property presently is vacant. So it may seem as a big ask that the Andrews want to have frontage on a municipally maintained road. But if you look at Section 66 of the Municipal Act, which I'm sure you're all familiar with, but I've brought a copy just in case. It says highways not opened on original road allowances. So this is the section that deals with deviation roads, which is what we've got here. If before January 1st, 2003, a highway was opened on land in place of all or part of an original road allowance and compensation was not paid for the land, the owner of the land appropriated for the highway or the successor in title to the owner is entitled to the following. And subsection 1 says, if that person owns the land abutting on the allowance, the owner is entitled to the soil and freehold of the original road allowance and to a conveyance of the original road allowance. So in this instance, and this is what this section is to address, where the municipality has a road that's not on the road allowance, the abutting landowner who's dispossessed of traveled road is entitled to the original road allowance. So that's what the Municipal Act says. The Andrews don't really want more road allowance or more land. All they want is access to the road. Now, I understand some discussions that Charlene had that the road superintendent wanted to keep the road allowance for future improvements. And my suspicion is that the future improvements are probably not going to require the relocation of the road allowance to any great extent. Because the location of the rail crossing just a little bit to the west. And this is sort of the narrow spot in the river. And so to relocate significantly one way or the other, just, I can't see that happening. So that's the background to what's happened here. Now, I see there's a couple of resolutions, and unfortunately, the lawyers reviewed the resolutions for both the Struts and the Andrews, and they were picking holes in them. So I'm wondering what the final question the lawyer for the Andrews had was, will it be possible to amend the resolutions after the meeting to satisfy the lawyers? And I think I know the answer to that. If not, can the resolution be redrafted to be heard at the next council meeting? And would council direct staff to work to a mutually agreeable solution?
So in the case of one of the resolutions, we're basically giving up the road allowance, and the other one we're keeping the road allowance.
Yes, and the road superintendent felt that giving up the road allowance wasn't in the best interest.
Which is typically something we don't do.
And then that's fine. But you've got to temper it with
Section 66.
Section 66, exactly. So there is a right there.
We haven't had our legal have an opinion on this.
No. No, with this one, I just treated it the same as with a consent. There's a road deviation that's to be transferred to the township. With the unopened road allowance, the road super had indicated that if there's any future bridge work, then that area would be the original road allowance could be used as a staging area for bridge repairs. But he was not supportive of incorporating the unopened or the original road allowance into the road network either at this time.
Would it be possible to identify in the next few weeks the area that would be required for staging? And perhaps like maybe, have a cutoff on what portion of the road allowance would be maintained and what portion could be transferred. So as to allow frontage.
I mean, it seems, first of all, I don't think there's any harm in tabling this and getting a legal opinion and some more information. I don't think it's a big deal. Like, it doesn't sound like time is a real.
It's been going on for quite a while.
It's not a pressing matter.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious though as to why legally they'd be worried about us still owning the road allowance. Like, they still have access to the property, so it doesn't.
So interesting story in Township of Lake Bays. I don't know if you heard what happened down there. The council, I suspect it was because of their insurance company, but I'm not certain on that, had required everyone crossing an unopened road allowance to, number one, have a survey of it, and number two, enter into a license of occupation at a fee of, I forget what it was, a couple $100, $500 a year, something like that. And of course, there was a huge backlash. It was great business for us, but it was one of those jobs that you thought, why are we doing this? This is stupid. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So that's the concern, is that, ultimately, if your insurance company comes along and says, we're not going to insure you unless you do this,
Right.
then, they're stuck. Another option that might keep everybody happy, and that's what we're sort of trying to do here, is make things work, is to obtain a right of way across the unopened municipal road allowance. So that, it's clear that this can't be
changed.
at the whim of the insurance company. It goes sideways.
I think what the planner's intent was just trying to get Mr. Andrews legal access, and with our unopened road allowance bylaw, it allows him automatically to, and without having enter into an agreement or having to go through the planning board or anything like that. But if that's the route that they want to doing, it's.
Yeah, the concern is, and that was shared by the by Andrew's lawyers was the bylaws change. And, that's, council's happy and bylaws good and everything's good now,
Yeah.
but 10 years from now.
That's understandable.
So Andrews want access from their property to Pickle and Jack Lake Road, is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
So they would have to cross this piece of road allowance here.
Yeah.
The blue and the red.
They'd have to, so the red is the road, the
Yeah.
blue is owned by Strut,
Yeah.
and then the yellow is the unopened road allowance.
Yeah.
So by incorporating that into the road system,
Right,
it's just a matter of crossing the unopened road allowance,
yeah,
right?
which they have the right to do.
Yeah.
As of right now, yeah, okay.
Any,
Because they've got they have a significant amount of frontage here. From this map, if this is their property, Correct.
The Andrews have roughly 68 meters frontage on the unopened road allowance.
Yeah.
okay, yeah,
And the Struts, have 56 on the travel.
okay.
So
I just want
what,
to make sure I understand.
what are some of the options that the lawyers are mentioning? Like, what about a portion of the unopened road allowance?
Yeah, something like that would be fine. The under rural zoning, which both of these properties are, they call for 61 meters frontage. If the entire frontage were open, then the Andrews property could comply with zoning. The Strut property only has 56 meters-ish.
And that would satisfy the lawyer with,
Yeah, as far as access to, direct access from the property to the open road.
there's a few options. right?
So could we leave this with staff?
I think we should-
Work with the
I think we
parties?
should table this.
Yeah.
Because as you say, Ted, it's not a burning issue that has to be solved tonight.
Yeah, and if you get it right.
Let's get it right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate the background. Ted.
Thanks, don't rush.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so that is tabled. We didn't read either of them in. Welcome to stay if you like, Ted.
I heard there was
But there,
the name like Ted Williams, I should be.
exactly. Been in a few yourself.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care. Okay, next up we have our bylaws. Council Township of Armour have read third time and approved bylaw 57-2025, being a bylaw to update the fees or charges for services provided by the Township of Armour and rescind bylaw 42-2024. And we authorize the mayor and the clerk to sign this bylaw and affix the seal of the corporation there too.
Sure.
Jerry. Seconder.
Sure.
Lee. No changes since our last meeting on this one, sure.
No, sir.
Any other questions on our fees? Okay, all those in favor? And it's through for another year. Bylaw 60-2025, Council Township of Armour have read and approved bylaw 60-2025, being a bylaw to enter into an agreement for bylaw enforcement services with the village of Sundridge. We authorize the mayor and clerk to sign this bylaw and affix the seal of the corporation there too. Mover on this one, Dorothy. Sure. And Jerry.
This is a renewal.
Yes, they all are. All right into 2028 and incorporating the new job descriptions and the mileage rate based on the Canada revenue.
The fees change at all for these ones? Sure.
I believe because of the change in the job
Because of the
description,
job description.
did it as the average between the two.
Bless you. All right. We have a mover and a seconder. All those in favor? Carried. Couple of Township of Armour have written approved bylaw 61-2025, being a bylaw to amend bylaw 30-2023. Bylaw to adopt the community safety and well-being plan for Algonquin Highlands, approve Schedule B, and we authorize the mayor clerk to sign this bylaw and affix the seal of the corporation there too. Wendy.
Sure.
And Rod. This is item 7 or 8.
So what are we changing on this one?
So essentially what the community safety wellbeing plan was put out, I believe, in 2022, thereabouts. It was called for a review within a certain time. When the clerks and treasurers got back together at the beginning of the year, we looked at trying to review through the plan through the top three, I guess, key areas of focus that were identified in the plan. So there was a few of us, Kearney, Perry, and Armour, that got together to review the landscape as to what work had been done. That work has been compiled and updated in point form as to what work has been done to carry out the deliverables. We reached out to various stakeholders to gather this information, including the Health Council, the ACE, and various other partners to gather that information. It was decided to just give an update that's an addendum to the plan as opposed to redoing the entire plan, which will happen in years to come. So that's essentially what you're adopting, is to tack on an appendix at the end that speaks to progress.
Any other questions for Dave on that one?
Also, a big thanks to Jenny from Kearney for doing a lot of the work in compiling updates.
They all together?
Yeah.
Okay. All those in favor? And that's carried. Council Township of Armour have written approved bylaw 62-2025, being a bylaw to establish a committee of adjustment and repeal bylaw 69-2024. We authorize the mayor and clerk to sign this bylaw and affix the seal of the corporation there too. Our annual committee of adjustment. Changes accept. Yeah, no change.
May I ask a question that I believe I asked last year, but I don't recall the answer? Why is Doug on here?
Go.
Building.
So the building inspector is always the
Saw it.
committee of adjustments. Thank you.
Okay, need a mover. Sure. Jerry and I saw Dorothy. Any questions about this one? All those in favor? That's carried. Council of Township of Armour have written approved bylaw 63-2025, being a bylaw respecting remuneration expenses for members of council. We authorize the mayor and clerk to sign this bylaw and affix the seal of the corporation there too. This is the annual cost of living.
Sure.
Second, Jerry. Any questions about this one? It's just the annual cost of living increase. No other changes?
I do love that we get to vote on it.
Yeah.
Like, yes, thank you. We will have a raise.
Yeah.
What's the CPI, 1.9 or something?
No, it went up. Originally it was at 1.9. It was what, 2 point something. It's less than 3. Ellie's all over it.
Yeah, I'm sure she has.
Okay, all those in favor? And that's carried. A couple more bylaw enforcement services agreements. Council Township of Armour have written approved bylaw 64-2025, being a bylaw to enter into an agreement for bylaw enforcement services with the Township of Ryerson. We authorize the mayor and clerk to sign this bylaw and affix the seal of the corporation there too.
Sure.
Chair.
I'll second.
And Dorothy. Exactly the same, I believe.
Yep.
Okay.
I think the hours may vary based on the month between the different municipalities, but the rest of it's the same.
Yeah, I seem to recall, right, I thought Ryerson had a little bit less in terms of hours, but. Okay, all those in favor? That's carried. And last but not least, Council of Township of Armour have read and approved bylaw 65-2025, being a bylaw to enter into an agreement for bylaw enforcement services with the Township of McMurk, Monteith. We authorize the mayor and clerk to sign this bylaw and affix the seal of the corporation there too. Wendy. Seconder.
Sure.
Odd. Once again. And any other questions on this one? All those in favor? And that is carried. That takes care of bylaws. Before we move on, I know we've got folks in the audience from regarding the Besto. I assume you guys are here for the last item on the agenda, public meeting discussion, or are you just here to?
Ball game.
And you want to watch the ball game and stay? You could work out some hand signals.
So before we get into reports, are there any objections to me jumping down to number 30 on the agenda? Okay, only if you guys tell us what the score is.
That's gonna be, but if we have Joe, then how do we know?
Okay, so we're gonna jump to number 30. And this is the notice of public meeting on November 18th. I forgot to ask it, sure, I thought this was part of our regular council meeting, but it's not, right? It's just totally separate.
It's a totally separate meeting. It's in between council meetings.
Okay.
And that's, I'm
Okay.
starting to compile everything. Sam from Tulloch is our municipal planner that is going to be representing the township.
So are they gonna run the meeting or?
We have a script. I've been working with Sam on the script. I said to him, like, based on the information or the submissions I've received at this point, I don't want to have to sit and read them all. So I confirmed with Sam to summarize them, although they will be included as part of the agenda package time, so that council has time to review it. Based on my understanding, so that council's aware of the process, it's not like the way that we normally do our zoning bylaw amendments where I would bring an application forward and you guys would pass a resolution authorizing Bob to proceed with the amendment. This first meeting is the one where the public will be given the opportunity to speak. The two planners will be doing a presentation. Our planner will not be making any recommendation to council. This will be the only opportunity that the public have to speak, whether they support or oppose, or if they have concerns or whatever. At the end of the meeting, basically this meeting, council is going to just be absorbing everything. You're not taking any stance in it. After that, Tulloch will be compiling the information. And the next meeting that we will have another public meeting that will be before a regularly scheduled council meeting. Based on my understanding, there is no delegations. It's just strictly the planners. And with that public meeting, you will receive a recommendation from our planner based on the applications. Close out, go into a regular council meeting. During this regular council meeting, those two bylaws will be there with numbers assigned to them. And at that moment, that's whether council will support it or oppose or whatever.
Okay. So this is for input. We're not making any decision, not even at the November 25th meeting. It's later.
That's right. So, yeah. So after the November 18th meeting, we need to give Tulloch time to review everything. And then there'll be a second public meeting set up. Don't know the time frame for that one right now.
It could be 2, 3, 6 months or whatever, right?
Well, we have Planning Act restrictions, but we got to keep in mind that, we've only got one venue to host the event. And I've been very adamant in making sure that the applicants are aware that we will not be holding a public meeting outside of our municipality. This is too important. We have the one venue, and then we're going to base it on that. To take it and hold a public meeting outside of the municipality
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
No,
It doesn't make sense.
When,
Question. This application, the map that's here, appears that the entire property is being rezoned and the official plan is being amended based on the entire piece of property. I'm just wondering why that is.
That's the way that was submitted by Solar Bank's planner, was to rezone in the entire lot.
So after this meeting, Power Bank will not have another opportunity to present any new information.
They, in the final meeting, like the second public meeting, it'll be the two planners. So it'll be our, like Tulloch, and then Solar Bank's planner will have their spiel as well.
And then Tulloch will make a recommendation to us.
Yeah, you close out of that meeting and then you go into your regular council meeting, and when those two bylaws come forward to you, like they did tonight, you would either support them or not. That's how it's dealt with.
And this application has got both Power Bank now,
Yeah,
Power Bank Corporation, and the property owner, Dave Grazer.
yes,
So we're assuming because that both parties are named here, the request to rezone the whole piece of property has been approved by both parties. Was that, or the
I'm not
request is
making any
coming-
assumption.
You're not making assumptions, and I should not. Okay.
the meeting itself, are we running that meeting?
So I have a script. You will be speaking, I will be speaking, Sam will be, you will, it's sort of like what you already
It's
had.
a normal public meeting in a way.
Yes, you will know what to say and when to say it.
So, because here's my concern about the meeting itself is I'd like to have some control about the way people make comments. And by that, I mean, I'd like them to come up to a microphone, say who they are and where they're from.
Yep.
Instead of this, everybody throws their hands up or everybody's shouting from the crowd or whatever.
That's exactly how it will be presented. In addition, Sam and we're setting time limits for people. And anyone that's part of a organization or whatnot, association will be given up to 5 minutes to speak, and that is it. So, and then you have, if there's someone gets, out of order, you've got your hammer there.
Got the hammer and the bylaw officers and
I'll make sure I pack it for you for the KCC. How's that?
yeah.
So everything's being taken into consideration for the what ifs and
Yeah.
whatnot.
So given the date of this meeting, did we not discuss not having a meeting on November 11th?
It was December, this December meetings were the one we only got one meeting in December.
But we discussed that
November 11th is our regular scheduled meeting.
the office is closed.
The office is closed, but Dave and I are coming in after.
Okay, so that was okay.
Because I remembered.
Yeah, okay.
And then
I just didn't want to not have a meeting prior to this.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only one that's being rescheduled is your December one for the gala. And the cancellation of the last one.
Okay, any other questions?
Yeah, what date was this public meeting again?
November 18th.
Okay, season's over.
Yes, that was one of the things that was the discussion when it came to setting that date. I said, I cannot set this during hunting season.
There won't be there. Sorry.
Quiet meeting, not on your end.
As long as politicians aren't in season. Question from the audience.
Just the question, the second public meeting, is that actually attended by the public that we
Yeah.
don't speak?
That's right. That's right. If something was to change where in between the meetings and there was someone that had new information or additional information or wanted to speak during that one, the second public meeting, I could talk to our planner to see, but it would obviously be set up something in a delegation form, not open format.
Not open.
Okay, another question.
Yeah.
In the second public meeting to be a delegation, I believe you gotta be a delegation at the first meeting?
Well, usually that's what,
Well, normally,
Yeah.
but say somebody missed the first meeting. What's the criteria on the second meeting? Are they allowed to speak or not?
I don't think so. I think it says in the public meeting
But
notice.
for everyone, make sure,
But in the first meeting, you don't need.
make sure you make the first meeting.
That's right. But you want to get your submissions in before the public meeting. You could still do
So they
verbal,
become
but
part of the record.
if you want something to become part of the record,
Oh, thank you. Okay, so you can still speak without a delegation, but, okay.
Yeah,
And I think at the next meeting, the second one, will that be likely at the KCC too, just because we're not sure how many
Yeah.
people might show?
yeah. That one will be a regular scheduled council meeting
That we hold at
If
case.
we hold that case.
that you're gonna have at the KCC, but it'll be in probably 6:30 start again.
And that's the one the date is unknown at this point for that. meeting.
That's right.
Any other questions?
Just one quick one, sorry.
Yeah.
For the first public meeting, you said the planners for both sides are gonna be there.
Yeah.
So I guess they're gonna be listening to the public as well to take that into consideration, I guess, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, anything else? Okay, thanks. We'll get back to our regular agenda. We'll back up to report 13. And first off is the library board. We have Navis on here, but Rod,
Yep.
dates from your meeting.
I got no notes on there. The only thing I know that I didn't do, the board would like an alternate from somebody sitting in the library board. We've had, not so much with me per se, but there've been board members not show up. And then the council doesn't get informed of what's been going on. So they would like to be, all meetings attended by the rep or the alternate. So we used to designate alternates.
Used to years ago, yeah.
I didn't know if we'd done it or not, but the board,
So they want an alternate for every board member, do they, from every municipality?
yeah. Armour's the only one that hasn't put one. I forgot to do it last meeting.
What nights do they hold the meetings on?
Third Wednesdays.
Okay, we do actually have a resolution for this one. Whereas the Township of Armour is a party to the Brooks Falls Armour and Ryerson Union Public Library Board, and whereas it is necessary and in the best interest of the Township of Armour to appoint an alternate representative to the board to ensure continued representation in the event the council representative is unable to attend, therefore be it resolved that the council of the Township of Armour hereby appoints blank as the alternate rep to the Brooks Falls Armour Ryerson Union Public Library Board for the remainder of the current council term. So we'll get a mover and a seconder, but if you move it, it doesn't mean you have to be the one to put your name on. Dorothy moves. Second, Jerry. Any volunteers?
Don't miss many meetings.
Perfect.
And if Jerry can't, I can, if you
All right, so we're gonna,
swear that you're not gonna miss.
any objection to Jerry being our alternative?
They're not.
You put the A in his sweater.
Except during golf season.
Well, yeah, then I'll need an alternate for me.
Double. Double A.
Okay, all those in favor? All right, so that's that. Now back to you, Rod, in case there's anything else from the library that you wanted to.
No, I don't believe so.
Okay. You're up again next, Agricultural Society meeting of October 16th.
We just went over the financials. I had it pretty well down pat. I don't have the numbers in front of me here, but I think I gave you a report of what the fair was like as far as attendance, the food booth. I don't think there was anything much on that meeting either. It was,
We got an update from Wilma last night too.
yeah, that was an unrehearsed thought, I think, but it was an issue that the arena being used during the fair. We had a verbal, I don't know if it was writing or not, but there were the arena was to be to our use.
Use it. Yeah.
And I mean, when they had put on a lunch for the judges. And they put it in the lobby, they set the tables up in the lobby in the midst of a game. So it was a little bit of a shit show at that point.
So that's what they normally use the arena for, was it, for the luncheon for the judges?
Well,
Yeah,
sometimes they use the upstairs as well.
Yeah.
Or,
but that's this for the lunch, for the judges' lunches, it's just, they do that. I don't know why, but that's where they always have done it. The other issue was there was a tournament on Sunday, was it? Yeah. So people were going into the tournament. It was hard to
Oh, to pay, like,
pay for the fare going to a tournament, but they said everybody that was going to the tournament migrated at the side door to the fair anyway. I tried to take the tables and put it over where the east exit is. But the buggers were using that change room. If they had used the change room at the other end of the arena, like at the other side, the west side of the entrance, probably we could have done what we would have done, but I put the tables down. I thought, how's a person with hockey equipment gonna walk by this now? So it was just a little bit of a conundrum.
do you want me to say my piece on this during the tri-council part or now?
Either way.
Like last night, I requested that it be addressed last night, and the mayor suggested it should be addressed next fall.
So in your comment and his comment, Berks Falls they requested a subcommittee to get together monthly and discuss the agricultural society's issues with anything. They've only met once. And it was a round table of discussion. The councilors that were there listened. The Agricultural Society gave them a list of heads up. And the council members at the next meeting were to get back to them, and that was back in April or May. And I've told the Agricultural Society, it's in Berks Falls' hands. They asked for recommendations and requests, and the Agricultural Society gave it to them. They shouldn't have to keep saying, what's your response? So that was back in April or May. And they're adamant, we need to keep the communication lines open, and yet they do not follow through with anything, not with that.
Is Armour permitted to, or does it have to be from the Agriculture Society to write a resolution now that the arena not be booked on fair weekend? For anything outside of the fair?
So
because there was an argument about the ice, right? And we determined, yes, the ice would stay in, but it would still belong to the fair for the fair weekend.
And we were given the ice surface if we wanted to have skating.
But we obviously couldn't do that with a tournament happening.
No, we didn't know there was nobody came to the Agricultural Society and said, are you gonna have public skating? They just booked.
So
the Agricultural Society they all sat around and agreed, we won't do anything. We don't want to do anything on the ice surface, period. But Berks Falls booked it.
we should have still had access to the whole arena.
So
the Agriculture Study should.
With respect to what you said, I would rather wait until I would like to get the information from Wilma, what we have in writing as to what or was it a verbal at their meeting? I was at the meeting when I remember Graham said, we will the arena will be at your disposal. And the staff will help out where they can. I don't know if that was ever in writing or not.
Well, it was stated.
Yeah, it sounds to me like there's just a real lack of communication.
It was.
But that's the point is, here's our list of recommendations. Get back to us on what you like or what you don't like. That was April or May.
That's why I would prefer to see something now before Graham books it for next Labor Day weekend.
So But
Wilma was supposed to be doing a letter requesting all spaces
Okay.
to the arena. Part of the conundrum too is the parking. I'm trying to set chairs up and cars are trying to park. It was a little bit of a shit show. I just dragged the fence across, told people, if you leave, you gotta go the other way because you're not taking the fence down.
so sounds like the agricultural society, Wilma has to have her meeting with the village presumably to figure that out.
Yeah.
If she's still not getting satisfaction, I think she should come back to the next tri-council meeting.
Well, the thing is, Burke's Falls called the meeting, the agricultural societies went and said, here's a list of,
And then there was. no
here's our
feedback.
thoughts,
Yeah.
and there's been nothing back.
Yeah.
So I mean, I've told them, I said, no, I wouldn't call another meeting. You haven't been answered the questions that were asked. I said, until you get a response, why would you have another meeting?
This is the first year I've ever heard of the ice being rented during the fair. Like normally, like the ice is there, that's a new thing that the ice is still in, but it's never been used for anything outside of the fair.
Makes sense that they would want to use it though. That's why they've left it in. They've got a revenue source there and they don't want to turn it down.
There, but-
It's fair.
So they rented it for 2 hours, Wendy.
Yeah. I just still think it's communication. But see,
It is.
I kind of disagree with your approach. To me, if I was on the Egg Society, I wouldn't give them that letter and then just wait because nothing's happened. I'd give them 2 months and then say, we're getting closer to fair date. Where are we with
And
these resolutions? Otherwise, you're just gonna have another problem again.
you're right. So that was what we did last year. Moving forward, the Agricultural Society is going to make request of the full use of
Yeah.
your facilities. Yeah, it's just,
It's definitely a communication problem for sure.
well, you can only ask the question so many times.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what I want them to do is word it so that if we don't hear back by said such and such a time, we'll presume this is the way it's gonna be.
Yeah.
That's the way we need to word things.
Yeah. Okay.
But
To speak on the agricultural, and this is just me being an attendee of it, they held that tax sale and the rink wasn't supposed to be rented out at that time either. So that's the second time this year that they've done that to the Egg Society.
say that again.
The Aggies held the tax sale springtime of this year. And the arena horse taxes.
Yeah.
They held an event upstairs and was told that nobody would be hosting anything downstairs because they needed access to other parts, and was told that the bottom was not going to be rented. So then there was a hockey tournament or hockey of some sort. And so that's the second time.
So the unfortunate piece to that was that the people holding the tournament were told by the village, I was in the meeting and I took notes. They were told by the village they could have the upstairs space as a gift from the village, a contribution to the tournament, and then showed up on the day for the tournament and there was an entire group in the upstairs.
Oh.
So they like double booked it.
Yeah.
And I will stand behind the Agricultural Society. As soon as they book something, they book it. They book the space at the area. Like as soon as that's the first thing on their agenda is make sure you talk to the people in the arena.
This was the 3-on-3 ice tournament.
Yeah.
And I believe it was booked 1 year prior. Like when the first one ended, I believe they booked the second annual. And so this will be the third annual this year.
So,
Good to know.
so the Egg Society could just book the arena for the weekend
Yep.
and deal with it that way.
Yeah, and that's what we didn't think we had to because we were
Because
getting
you were
full use of the arena.
Full use, yeah.
You gotta do it.
Yeah.
Sign the contract.
Yeah.
Then write 0.
Yeah, for the cost, yeah. Okay, any questions,
Community event.
any other questions on the Egg Society or library? Okay, next up is the MAC Political Leaders Forum. So this is the quarterly meeting that occurs with all the leadership from around town, Muskoka and Almaguin. Dave Uffelman, the board chair, gave an update. So as far as the next steps in the hospital bill, they haven't heard back from the province officially yet. They're still back and forth, but that's fairly typical. So hopefully within the next 6 months or so, they'll know what's going on. Any other unopened questions about things like the site selection in Bracebridge, I believe has been dealt with now. There's still questions on social media about it. I think it's done. And the rest was just updates from how things are going at the hospital in general. Foundations, you already heard about the $20 million gift for the Huntsville Foundation, and South Muskoka Bracebridge just received a $6 million gift as well. So things are moving along as far as that goes.
Do we know who the donor of the 6 million was? A private donor.
I believe it was a similar sort of situation, like a family, but I don't know.
Incredible.
Next up is ACE, October report and minutes from September 18th. Do we have the minutes from?
We don't have the minutes from our meeting last week, but looks things
Yeah, okay.
didn't make it onto the agenda
Typically don't until
till
the
next, yeah.
Yeah.
Where
were you, Wendy?
Yeah, so it was actually a short meeting. We had a new representative from South River attend, whose name I can't remember now all of a sudden.
Robert Brooks.
Robert Brooks, yes. So most of our attendees were by Zoom last week, but there was a few of us there in person, and it was a short meeting, but good. We just basically went through the report, got updates from all the staff. Lots going on. We're now moving into the Christmas season, buy local campaigns, that type of thing. And the date for the Red Gala has been set. And there will be, I think, 4 spots per municipality for those that want to attend. 4 or 2?
2.
2.
2 are saved, and usually we end up with more, but
Are we like arm wrestling to figure it out, or what are we doing with that?
so generally speaking,
I was joking there.
in municipality, generally it's a bit of, we set up a ring.
Yeah, no arm wrestle, full.
No, so generally the municipality is going to advance an advance request or an advance invitation. And while we say we hold 2 spots, that's like when we release it to the rest of the invitation list. Those will be held even if we hadn't heard back, but it's quite frequent that municipalities give us, we have these 2 members of council who would like to bring their spouses they express an interest in a 3rd or a 4th or a 5th. It's very rare that we get a full council that wants to come out, but there will be room.
But Armour is very supportive, so.
Yeah, so we usually attend. There's usually a pretty good representation there from Armour. But other than that, there was no FedNor rep there, which is very unusual. And then an OHSC trustee was there, but she didn't have any updates. So I don't really have a whole lot more. The agreement has been circulated our 2-year agreement has been circulated. At the meeting time, we had 5 positive responses. So
5 positive responses, no negatives. In reviewing some of our council meetings, it appears as though we may be getting a delegation request from Powassan. They had discussed it and otherwise have not had any other delegation requests. However, we will be filling out a delegation form for the Village Works Falls.
okay.
And the only other pieces that I wanted to touch on in the report itself was just the internal posting that'll go for the Director of Economic Development position and furthers to our conversations, as well as the ACE resolution from the August 28th meeting. And there was some discussion about some possible solutions for the consideration of a municipal shared services corporation as a point of consideration for what happens after 2 years, the 2-year agreement. So not too much other than just planting seeds and what that may look like, but I think we are going to have a very short window of time to put options on the table if we're considering broad brushstroke changes.
Questions for Dave or Wendy? Excellent. Thank you for the update. Next up, Historical Society. Sure.
It was all in the agenda last night, basically, well, except for the draft minutes. Diane's budget's in there
Yeah.
and request for the $5,000 support.
I had a question I should have asked Diane last night and it moved along fairly quickly, so I didn't react.
She was very disappointed nobody asked her question.
Well, I had one to ask, but it was too late. It was,
Write it out, I'll give it to him.
I guess I was.
Call her right now.
Put her on speaker.
I just wondered if the society has something in mind for their surplus. Like, are they trying to save money for a specific event or?
My surplus?
Well, I believe they have a surplus. Looks like in last year they had a surplus of 11,879. Am I reading that right? They had revenue of 34,000 and expense of 22.
Three.
Yeah, it does. The surplus is $11.59.
Yeah. So I just wondered if they had that, earmarked for something or
When you look at the budget, it kind of,
it's a balanced budget. Yeah.
but it covers, like, there's two columns there that cover the full year. So I don't know if maybe that's a carryover. See,
I think a lot it has to do is it's not December to December.
yeah,
It's a 2-year window.
see,
That their annual start date is different.
that throws me off too with trying to calculate the
So
budget.
you're saying there isn't a surplus? Is that what you're saying?
It's March to February and March to February.
That would still be a surplus at the end of February.
I would expect so.
Or are they saying that that's their surplus from December 31st?
Well, at the end of March, they will have spent $27,000.
Yes.
Oh, I see the surplus at the top. So the surplus was from 2024 to February 2025.
Right. Of 11,879.
The middle column balances out. Yeah, the one on the left doesn't.
So request clarification.
Yeah, please.
Understood.
What's your surplus and is there a project you're working on?
If you look at the surplus there was 24 to 25.
Mhm.
But if you look at March 25 to 26, there is no surplus. It's blank.
Because it's not done yet. So they won't
Right.
know that they had a surplus until February 2026.
We can get clarification from their treasurer. Yep.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, she'll know all about it.
You asked me math questions. I don't know math. You know that. I get Ally to double check my calculations.
Like Ellie does look at all that.
Well, she does.
Okay. Any other?
I stay out of it as much as I can.
Any
Unless I gotta hang curtain.
It appears as though when you look at that surplus has actually been carried forward.
Yes, I believe it has.
And so whether that was earmarked for something specific or whether there's war chesting.
Yeah, and that could be what it is. I'm just curious.
I'd love to know if there's a reserve. That's a joke.
Yeah.
What'd you say the surplus was? 11,879?
Yeah.
That was in last February.
All right. Next up, tri-council meeting from last night. So we actually have two resolutions. I believe. Hopefully 31. Yes. First up, Council of Township of Armour is in support of the subcommittee meetings for shared services. Dorothy moves. Seconder.
Sure.
Rod. I think it's working well.
I'm in support of Wendy going to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Notice I didn't.
You want to record a vote on this?
It is going on.
All those in favor? And that's carried quickly. or Wendy changes her mind.
Potentially signing on to a whole lot more coming up, eh?
Yes, it would seem so.
All right, and this one is, well, it's related to Tri-Council because it has to do with the fire hall property. So there was discussion around whether the fire hall property needed to go through site plan control. But the feeling was with township staff that it didn't make a lot of sense because basically we're the applicant and we'd be the, where's the money gonna come from? And it doesn't make a lot of sense. So this is basically a resolution to not do site plan control and also go ahead with taking the holding of that property. Whereas the Township of Armour has designated areas under its site plan control bylaw and is planning the construction of a new fire hall located at concession 7, part lot 5, registered plan 42R 22866, part 1, fronting on Peggs Mountain Road, which is currently zoned commercial holding, rural industrial holding zone under the township bylaw. And whereas the Planning Act, section 41 allows municipalities to establish site plan control over developments, but does not legally require a municipality to apply site plan control to its own projects. And whereas council has discretion to exempt municipal projects, particularly those considered essential public infrastructure, from site plan control. And whereas site plan control is primarily intended to regulate the development of private lands to ensure compliance with municipal standards, while the township retains direct oversight and approval authority over its own municipal projects. Now therefore be it resolved that the Township of Armour hereby exempts the construction of the new fire hall located at concession 7, part lot 5, registered plan 42R 22866, part 1, fronting on Peggs Mountain Road from the application of the township site plan control bylaw. The township acknowledges that the subject lands are zoned CHMMH, commercial holding, rural industrial holding, and hereby authorizes the municipal planner to prepare and bring forward a holding removal bylaw amendment to permit the development of the new fire hall in accordance with applicable zoning and development standards.
Sure.
Jerry. Seconder Wendy. All those in favor?
One step closer to a fire hall.
Like the old one.
It's belongs to the Village of Brooksville, and they'll do with it what they please.
Could be a new municipal office.
There you go.
We did suggest that at one point.
I know.
Any other comments from the tri-council meeting last night? Or items that didn't get discussed?
What's the outcome on the library? Dorothy started. In a sense, she's gone. I smiled because it does make sense realistically. If like, what are the costs of that building? Like, really?
Well, and there's two contributors to the cost, the library and the seniors.
So I would be happy to bring this up for discussion at our subcommittee.
Okay.
I would like direction from this council on specifically, what do you want me to ask?
Go back to the original date on the 3 townships and getting the Ontario grant.
I would like to know that
When I was
side,
built.
but I would like to know what the annual costs are. I don't believe that what the revenue is and what is happening. So they stated last night that there is no revenue. They do not rent it to the municipalities to provide a revenue. So if it is discovered that the costs are $5,200 a year, what are you doing with the difference, the $4,200 difference? If there is a reserve, how do we get our name on the reserve? Because if the reserve belongs to the Village of Berks Falls.
There won't be a reserve.
So if it's not a revenue producing building, what are you doing with the money that exceeds the costs? Period. And if there is extra money, because there is, where is it going? It needs to be in a reserve, and the reserve needs to be in everybody's name because it is a library reserve or the building reserve.
Why do you feel that that's Armour's business?
Because we're paying that money.
All we're paying is rent.
Yes, but we're paying the rent. So if they say,
Is your issue the increase in the rent?
yes, so if they say we are generating revenue from this building, then I have no issue. They're generating a revenue from a building that we're paying for. But they are stating there is no revenue being generated. So if there's money that exceeds what the rent is, Where is it?
It's going to the reserve,
So,
new reserve.
so I highlight what you're saying is. Wendy and Dave brought in, what are the costs associated to a building? Property taxes, right?
Exempt.
Right?
They're
No, but but realistically, if it wasn't
the library.
that person,
Yeah.
somebody would be paying property taxes. So really, like whether we pay taxes to ourselves or not, I don't know, but I mean, that will be
But
the biggest piece.
is that legal? They're renting it out to a private organization and it's tax exempt because it's a municipal building.
They own the building.
Mhm.
It's their building to do what they want with. We have a library in the basement of that building. And we fund the library through an approved budget.
Yes,
And one line item on that budget is rent.
yes.
Now, if we have an issue with the rent being increased 20 some odd percent, absolutely.
Mhm.
I think we're entitled to ask, please justify this rent increase. But all those other questions about their building, it's not our business.
So if they say to us, like I just said, this building is a revenue generator for the village of Berks Falls, we either decide we're going to agree to our landlord's rent increase or we don't, right?
Well, I think we're entitled to know why it had to go up 26%.
So,
But they stated it is not revenue producing. So if it is not revenue producing, where is the money going? Because it does not cost that much.
so the rent went up because. And Chris made a comment, he said, the rent hasn't gone up in years. Well, it goes up, it goes 3%, up 3% every year. That's keeping up with the cost of whatever, that's an increase, I don't care what you call it. Back to what Dorothy's saying, they haven't put any money into it. So they don't need to say, oh, it's been costing us money. We need to put the rent up. They don't put any money into that building.
I don't know if I would agree with that statement.
They
Okay,
do pay for snow removal.
no, they.
If the rent covers snow removal.
But they've, in the beginning, a different term of council deemed that was adequate enough. This term of council has asked what other libraries pay for rent. But they didn't ask what that, like, why is Sunridge paying more money? Well, maybe they're paying off a debenture. Or who knows what it is? Or maybe they actually put money into upgrades. Berks Falls, in all the years that they've been there, they've only put a new roof on that building.
Did they not put an automatic door on
Yep.
recently?
So this,
They got money for that. That was I don't remember what that was, but they got money through the accessibility.
What I'd like this council to do is to come up with the questions you would like, specific questions you'd like me to ask.
Just justify the rent increase.
And
I believe they thought they justified the rent
Yes.
increase by comparing it to other libraries. But we can't compare Sunridge Arena to our arena because they're both arenas, so they should both have the same budget. That seems silly to me. If they admittedly are 2 years ago in a tri-council meeting, Chris said they were going to look at commercial spaces, the cost. He was going to cost commercial spaces because he felt that the library was underpaying for a commercial space. But one would argue it's not a commercial space, it's a public,
Service.
yes, it's a service. So if they agree that they are creating a revenue and it's going into a coffer as a revenue to the village, we have no argument. We just have to agree to pay the rent increase.
Yeah.
If they say there is no revenue, we are not making any money on that building, they need to tell us where the 29% is going. If they're not making money, 24, sorry.
Well, so the bottom line is we're just asking that question, justify the rent increase.
Yeah.
Forget all this other argument.
Yeah.
What we need is them to say, the reason we're putting the rent up 26% is X. And our reasoning for asking that question is because we're paying 46.1% of that 26% increase.
But-
And we will refuse to pay that increase if we don't agree it should, if it's not justified. If they're just coming back saying, well, Sundridge is charging this, so we're gonna charge that. It's not good enough. So we will ask the question, why is it a 20?
Yeah.
Why do we need a 26% increase? Because really, we're taking out of the pocket of one municipality to put in another municipality. It doesn't make any
And
sense.
that's my whole point, is if it's going to fund something else in the municipality of Burkes Falls, then I have a huge issue with it. If
We
it,
gotta be careful about going down that slippery slope, because remember, we've got a community center that generates revenue. So
It's better to have them.
So
Justify.
let's just ask them the question about the rent, because that's the thing that's sticking out to me.
okay,
Our share went up from 36% to 46%. And now the rent's going up 26%. We're going like, so we're just basically handing money over to Burkes Falls. So let's find the reasoning for
Yeah,
that.
and they may very well come back and say, we're justifying it because that's what the other municipalities are charging for rent.
So
And that's wrong.
my argument is almost back to 2008. Burkes Falls. I'm just going to use Dorothy's words. Burkes Falls Council of the Day in 2008 deemed this building is costing us this much. We need a 3% increase. They actually they came forth and said, this is what we need to keep up. Burkes Falls has just done what's everybody paying for rent. They didn't take in consideration there's libraries don't pay any rent. That's not part of the equation.
in some libraries, the cost per square foot includes all of their utilities. Ours
Yeah,
in addition to, it's not apples to apples.
No, it is apples to apples. This is where I got off was the cost that they quoted included the monies that the library pays for the utilities.
I mean,
So it was apples to apples. We pay rent plus utilities. So they did the rent, utilities, come up with a final number divided by square foot. It is apples to apples. Dave explained to that in 3 minutes to me, had it all understood.
so I agree with your question. Can you justify this to us? And if they determine that their costs did not go up 24%, and 24% is not necessary for them to continue to maintain that building, then I think we could discuss not agreeing to that rent increase.
But I think an offline conversation with Mayor Ward I had yesterday was that, if there are other substantial requirements of that building, capital investments that are required, it would be important to know about that as well.
Yeah.
In order to properly support that.
We can plan.
Yeah, but suffice it to say, I've captured, I think, the heart of what we're talking about here. We can prepare those comments and prepare those questions. To give an advance notice to the CAO from Burkes Falls, and just advise that we will be asking these questions, and we can see where they think asking a question is reasonable. And we'll see what the response is.
And Sean did email me this morning saying that because Denny wasn't there last night, he brought the questions that D-Lynn and I had asked at the meeting. He's going to bring them back to Denny.
What about my
He
question?
didn't mention your questions.
I think they're going to be asked in the newspaper, so.
Okay. Anything else from Tri-Council? You're clear, Wendy, as to what you're going to ask for?
Yeah, Dave's
Okay.
taking notes, and between him and I will sort it out.
Okay.
I don't have any comment other than we get those budgets, whatever we got them on the Friday, and the Monday is the meeting. So, I mean, I certainly need a lot more time to go through those budgets in detail and absorb them and digest them and come up with questions.
Sorry, and just one more point to that, if I may, Mayor. The PCC does create a revenue, but we don't ask to other municipalities to pay rent for us to create a revenue.
I understand.
So-
I'm just saying that I think it's a pointless argument, because I think we'll go in circles and we're just going to get into a whole bunch of
I
infighting.
just don't think you should be asking your partners to pay you to
if it's not justifiable, if they're only justifying it because somebody else is paying more.
It's not a good enough reason.
No, and I'll defend that with the fact that the old council, they came up with a number that they said was good. They didn't compare outside municipalities. They used their numbers to come up with what number they had.
Yeah.
So Wendy made a comment, and her and I were chatting before. So years ago, when tri-council meetings were orchestrated to pass budgets. So maybe what we need to do is we need to have the agenda of the tri-council meeting prior to the tri-council meeting, right? So that, like, we used to go to tri-councils and we would discuss budgets and they would get passed. That's why they were orchestrated.
Well, that could happen at a January.
Okay,
Council.
okay, good point.
Usually pass it in February.
You're not gonna do it just when you get it right away, but in
But
January,
your comment,
you might be able to.
but we should have the agenda items before we get to the.
More than a Friday before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I remember we used to, as clerks, we used to try and get those agendas out at least a full week before the, but it's sometimes it just with workload, it can't happen, that's all. It's,
I think
especially with budgets.
one of the things after last night's meeting, the thing we have to be prepared for the January, February meeting is that, like, I don't know how these budgets are gonna get through. Because based on my quick calculation, library 8% increase, landfill 6, arena 13, fire 17. We can't afford it.
Yeah, they're all very high.
So like, there's gonna have to be
Something's gotta go.
some tough discussions between now and February, because that's not gonna fly. And we didn't even get into that discussion last night, but to Wendy's point, we didn't really have time to dig into the amounts.
Is it Ryerson hosting the next one?
Yes.
Okay. Anything else? So I had two other quick updates from reports that I had. I went to the AFDO conference last week. So this is the Ontario Family Health Team organization down in Toronto, because I was presenting actually on the resolution that we passed in August around balanced governance on boards. So it is getting a lot of play. So it was a packed room and some interesting responses. I had a physician from Timmins come up to me, came down specifically for my presentation, and he was ready to go at me. And then he said, after we talked, he said, I get it. I understand what you're saying now, because my point was, this is still public money. It's one taxpayer paying for healthcare. And so it should be a balanced board to make sure that the community is getting what they need. So it was an ED from Prescott, Denny Matthew, and I, who did the presentation. She's really good. And anyway, it went over well, but that resolution that you guys passed in August is hitting some notes within the Ministry of Health. And Jane Philpott was actually at that meeting, so I talked to her for a bit. So it's good. The other thing, yesterday, Huntsville had their kickoff for the seniors games. And I wanted to mention it last night. Again, we kind of ran through the agenda, didn't get a chance to, because our arena is actually going to be part of those games. And so is Sundridge. So this isn't something that everybody knows about, but there's 1,000 athletes coming in. I get to be one of them, actually, because I'm 65 next year. It's 1,000 athletes coming into Huntsville with families and everything. And some of the hockey games are going to be played in Sundridge and Armour, Berks Falls, Ryerson. So thought I should mention that. And I did mention it to Graham privately, but I wanted to give him kudos in the meeting. We just kind of flew through.
Yeah, it was.
That was it. Any other reports? Why don't we take just a quick break today before we go into correspondence and unfinished? So we'll break it till just 8:40 for a quick snack.
So a scoreless game?
0-0.
Okay. So we have correspondence items 18 to 25, and there's one or two resolutions along the way. First one's for the annual poppy fund. Council Township of Armour approve a donation in the amount of blank to the Royal Canadian Legion Branch 405 to support the 2025 poppy fund. Whoever moves it can suggest a number. 200 was what we gave last year.
Correct, $300.
Jerry for 300. Do I have a seconder at 300?
Yeah,
Rod,
Well, are we allowed to do that since you're a Legion member?
yeah. I just did.
Want to make sure we're not gonna get in trouble.
I'm not making any money on it.
Oh,
mover and a seconder. All those in favor? And that's carried. Council Township of Armour approve a donation in the amount of blank to the Santa Claus Parade Committee. The costs associated with the 2025 Santa Claus Parade. Note for number 19.
Move it, but I want to keep it at 250. Jerry's giving all the money away, so.
We have Wendy.
I second it for 300.
275.
We have a seconder at 250. Dorothy. Okay. All those in favor? That's carried. I'm sure we do cover some other costs for that parade. Council Township of Armour supports the town of Clifton, Wyoming, and urges the province of Ontario to reconsider the Conservation Authority's fee freeze mandate on and to implement a funding framework that protects municipal taxpayers from cost recovery deficits while supporting a sustainable and balanced approach to Conservation Authority finance. Got Dorothy. Second.
Sure.
Wendy. Guess the conservation authorities are taking a hit. Oh, changes. Okay, all those in favor? Majority carried. Township of Armour supports the town of Whitby and requests that the Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Parks amend Blue Box Regulation 391-21 to require producers to provide blue box collection services to businesses located in mixed use properties. Wendy. Seconder.
Would Amy want us to do this?
Amy supports it.
Dorothy. Okay, all those in favor? Carried.
Also, if I may mention, I would like you to have your picture on the top of all of our correspondence.
It's funny, I noticed that. That seems kind of weird now. I don't think that's gonna be happening.
Oh, you never know. It's Photoshop.
Hey,
Council Township of Armour supports the Township of McGarry and requests that the Honorable Mike Terrace Jr., Minister of Natural Resources and Forestry, reconsiders the planned use of glyphosate-based herbicides in the Temiskaming Forest and suspend the aerial spraying initiative till further independent research and uptake. Excuse me. And update risk assessments are completed and reviewed.
sure.
Sure. I thought this one came up last year.
They keep
They were doing the
herbicide. That's
every year. They're doing the same thing.
They keep doing it.
Okay, all those in favor?
Bless you.
Bless you.
It's the season.
Yeah.
The OPP one, I included a blurb for page about Zeal Magwin OPP and how they're to receive $200,000 for the Hensonville crisis response team.
That's interesting.
Where was that? Just, is it buried in?
24?
It's at the very end of that one.
Ontario news release advising that Ontario is protecting communities by assisting policing across the province. Maybe number 24.
Yeah, yeah. I missed the name when I was going through this first time. Okay. Uh, 25, Health Unit announces more opportunities for vaccinations this fall. And then we're into some unfinished business, so some notes of support in the Family Health Team resolution, as well as the Blue Box and Circular Economy Act support resolutions. That's items 26 and 27. And 28 is Ryerson's support of the library agreement. Believe me. Okay. Item 29. This is a request for extension of the loft house build, so on their property. So there's a letter in here from Mark at Loft House. Dave and I had a meeting with them, I guess it was a couple weeks ago now. Council of Township of Armour approves a 1-year extension to the option to repurchase contained in the sales contract with Brow Brassworking Limited for the property described as part of Lot 6, Concession 10 being Part 1 of Plan 42R-20644. Save and accept Part 1 of Plan 42R-21700 in Highway 11 Industrial Park. I'll get a mover, get on the table, Jerry, and a seconder.
Sure.
Rod.
Sorry, did we not discuss this last year? Did we not give them a 1-year extension last year?
We did. So as a bit of a background on this, last year, due to some, we'll say financial logistics with projects they have going on that I can't get into detail with, we approved a 1-year extension based on just positioning for them. Again, not much I can discuss openly about it. This year, they had requested another 1 year. So in our meeting, the expectation at this point is that they're going to start moving earth around in 2026, spring of 2026, to start preparing for the build. But the main thing that was pushing them back was their response and awareness around what was going on with tariffs. So they had put a lot of time and energy and effort into coordinating any response that they would need to take with tariffs. And that offset that delayed their anticipated start. They were hoping to start doing that this year. So this has gone off to our lawyers. They're reviewing that because the 1 year extension, we only had a 1 year extension available. So we have to now come up with another option to repurchase. And what I've requested is that they create another 1 year, which we're reviewing tonight, with an option to extend again should it be necessary. I think Loft House demonstrated track record of investment in the area is worth considering versus other agreements that we've had to action the 1 year buyback clause on. I don't think that it's within the best interest of the township to completely remove that condition. However, given the ongoing communication that we have had and again, Loft House track record, I feel confident in recommending that we provide another year and revisit should we need to. But my estimation is that we will see some significant progress.
Yeah. Tumultuous times.
Yeah.
Do we need to wait for the lawyer or can we approve the, like, presenting?
So I think the resolution as it's worded, I think once we have the, long story short, I didn't think that there was going to be a problem coming up with another option. They will need to agree to that option writing, but of course, it's within their best interest to do so. And should they not do that, then this resolution will be rescinded and actions taken. I don't see that being an issue, but I think at this point, we're protected either way.
Any other questions on that one? All those in favor? That's carried. And we've already taken care of item 30. I believe we are done.
You guys don't have any questions regarding the process for the public meeting for November 18th? You're just basically sitting there absorbing the information, asking questions, but you're not you're not making any decisions.
I'll address this after we go out of the meeting.
Okay. Council Township of Armour adjourns this regular council meeting at 8:55. So the next regular council meeting is scheduled for November 11th, 2025, or to call the mayor or the clerk. Dorothy.
Lucky shirt.
Second.
Did you second, Ron?
Sure.
All those in favor? And we are meeting. First of all, we'll read our video recording disclaimer. This disclaimer is to inform all participants that the meeting conducted in person and via Zoom will be recorded for record-keeping purposes. By participating in the meeting, you consent that the recording may contain your video stream, including images of yourself, your audio stream. This includes any opinions you contribute. Anyone attending the recorded meeting may have aspects of their personal data recorded if they actively